Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Regional Council. I will go down the list of members by member agency. Please unmute and indicate if you are present. Mayor Weiss. Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Orsborn.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Les Peterson.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Present.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo. Mayor Walter. President Burnett. Mayor Dickey.
Sorry, I'm here.
Thank you. Mayor Riggs. Governor Lewis. Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Wires.
I'm here.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Hampton. Mayor Molina. Mayor Schoaf.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mayor Price. Supervisor Hickman. Mayor Bien Wilner.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Carlott.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mayor Gallego. Supervisor Goodman. Mayor Barney.
I am here, thank you.
Thank you. President Javier. Mayor Ortega. Mayor Hall.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mayor Woods.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Rodriguez.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor LaVault. Ms. Daniels. Mr. Meck. And our chair is present. Is there anyone that I missed? Thank you. We have quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Please remember to unmute your device before speaking and mute when you are not speaking to create a positive experience for all attendees. Phone participants should use *6 to mute and unmute and *9 to raise their hand. The first item on our agenda is the call to the audience. Members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting through the MAG website. Comments may be sent at any time leading up to the meeting, but must be received at least 1 hour prior to the posted start time for the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to comment on items that fall under MAG's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda or that are on the agenda for discussion and not for action. MAG staff, have we received any public comments? And if so, please read them at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We received no public comment for call to the audience or any other item on today's agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 3 on our agenda is the Executive Director's Report. MAG Executive Director Eric Anderson will give his report. Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Regional Council. Let me go to the next slide. I have 2 things to share with you today. One, MAG has now become an official member of the Institute for Automated Mobility. This is the Governor Ducey's committee to coordinate the different initiatives we have related to autonomous vehicles and other automated mobility. So we've been working behind the scenes with IAM ever since they started, but we formally formalized our membership in that organization. So once again, combined with the efforts we have on the Connected here, that's a Smart Region Consortium, I think we're well covered in terms of automated mobility. Go to the next slide. Wanted to put this on your radar. We have an opportunity to have a roundtable discussion with the Sonoran Governor Alfonso Durazo. That's going to be held December 17th, Friday, December 17th at 4 to 5:30 in ATMAG. If you can accommodate that in your schedule, please do. I think it's a great opportunity to continue to look at how we can strengthen the economic ties between Sonora and Arizona. So once again, that's Friday, December 17th. And you can RSVP to Elsa Belgine at the MAG office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Eric after the meeting. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. Items 4A through 4M are on the consent agenda. Does any member of the Regional Council have questions or request a presentation on any of these items? If not, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
First motion, Mayor Hermosillo.
Second, Mayor Harkey.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch who the motion was made by.
Mayor Hermosillo.
Thank you, Mayor Hermosillo. And thank you, Mayor Hartke, for the second.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, members, I apologize. I believe we're off by one on our quorum.
Okay.
Oh, did we just
No.
get it?
Yeah, we're fine, Ben.
Sorry about that.
With Mayor Hermosillo. Thank you.
All
We're
right.
good.
Thank you. So Mayor Hermosillo has made a motion seconded by Mayor Hartke. Ben, will you please take a roll call vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Regional Council. I will go down the list of members by member agency. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
thank you. Mayor Orsborn,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Les Peterson,
Yes.
thank you. Vice Mayor Smith,
Yes.
thank you. Mayor Hartke,
Yes.
thank you. Mayor Hermosillo,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Dickey,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Bridget Peterson,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Wires,
Aye.
thank you. Vice Mayor Hampton, Mayor Schoaf, Mayor Bien Wilner, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Schoaf. Mayor Bien Wilner,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Carlott,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Barney,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Hall,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Woods,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Rodriguez,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor Pereira,
Aye.
thank you. And Mr. Chair, how do you vote?
Vote aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone that I missed? Thank you. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Ben. Item 5 on our agenda is the MAG Fiscal Year 2023 Public Safety Answering Point Annual Element/Funding Request and the Fiscal Year 2023 through 2028 Equipment Program. 911 Administrator Liz Graber will present. Liz.
Thank you, Chairman Giles. The fiscal year 2023 budget is been prepared and approved by the PSAP Manager Committee, the 911 Oversight MAG Management Committee, and now sits before the Regional Council. We have in that budget the projects for Phoenix PD and for Luke Air Force Base, who are both next up to be upgraded. Phoenix PD is our largest 911 center in our region with 2 sites that run concurrently. They are getting ready to move to a new building, and so we will coordinate with them on how their upgrade will move along with that change of location. The other site we have is Luke Air Force Base. Luke Air Force Base is a smaller PSAP, but it can be complicated because of the Department of Defense has certain requirements that we must follow when putting any networking on their site. So that will be the other task that we are up for. Other things on the 911 list to brief you on is the largest project we have of all is going to be the NG core, the NG 911 core upgrade. What this will do is the state went out to RFP and chose a vendor, awarded a vendor, the Next Gen Communications, to provide networking, 911 networking for the whole state, with excluding Maricopa region. So the project will put an IP network through northern, southern, all of Arizona on one network, and then Maricopa region will keep its current 911 network. So there'll be two networks within the state. What we will do is move to our, what they call core services, to 911 core services with the new vendor. And when we do this, this will allow us to have connectivity between the two EZI nets. One of the problems you've probably heard in the last few years of different 911 outages. So what we're trying to do is see how we can best use both networks' assets to back each other up, so that when there is an outage, it can flow to the other EZI net and 911 calls will not be affected and people will still get the help they need. That is our ultimate goal. So that project will be it's starting now actually, and hopefully the region will be on core services in July of 2022. Our Community Emergency Notification System, or SENS, it's our ability to contact citizens through a reverse 911 system. We are at 130 activations to date. The majority of those are law enforcement. Examples would be missing children, endangered adult, and police incidences. That platform is getting near end of life, so we will be evaluating a new platform to move that important communication tool to. And then we have text to 911. Text to 911, as you remembered, was implemented thanks to this group in 2018. Our month total for November was 789, and that is another record-setting month on text sessions. Currently in this year, calendar year, we have 8,239 text sessions to all of the 911 centers in the region. That is, once again, record-setting, but just to give you an idea of the difference between text and voice calls. So 789 text sessions a month, but we also answered 270,000 911 voice calls. So it's not there taking the impact on numbers. It's still quite small for text to 911, but what calls we are getting on there are extremely important things that we were able to help and render aid to that we might not have had 911 text not been there. So it's still considered very valuable as an outreach for those that cannot communicate through voice to our 911 centers. And so those are the projects we're working on 911, as well as the fiscal year 2023 budget. I have nothing further on my report, Chairman Giles. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Liz. Are there any questions or comments from the membership? Hearing none, this item is on the agenda for approval of the MAG fiscal year 2023 PSAP annual element / funding requests and the fiscal year 2023 through 2028 equipment program, with the requirement of running the additional call taking working station requests through the formula that the governance working group is developing. Could I please have a motion?
Mr. Chair, Jerry Wires, I move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Wires.
Mr. Chair, this is Les Peterson. I'll make a second.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Chairman Mayor Wires, seconded by Mayor Peterson. Ben, would you please do the roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Regional Council. I will go down the list of members by member agency. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Orsborn?
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Les Peterson?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey?
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Wires.
Aye.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Hampton. Mayor Schoaf. Mayor Bien Wilner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mayor Show.
Thank you, Mayor Schoaf. Mayor Carlott.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Barney.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Woods.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Rodriguez.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira. And our chair is here. Chair, how do you vote?
Vote aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone that I missed?
Sorry, Ben. Mayor Pereira is aye.
Mayor Pereira, thank you. Anyone else?
Vice Mayor Hampton's aye.
Thank you. And thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you, Ben. Item 6 on our agenda is the draft Momentum 2025 MAG Regional Transportation Plan, draft fiscal year 2022 through 2025 MAG Transportation Improvement Program, and public input report presented by MAG Transportation Planning Program Manager Audra Kester-Thomas. Audra, please take it away.
Thank you, Chairman Giles, members of Regional Council. This is an exciting day to be presenting this final step in our plan development process to you today, and look forward to our continued conversations ahead. Next slide. I'll talk about these final elements in the plan development process that concluded with a final public comment period for both the draft regional transportation plan, transportation improvement program, and draft air quality conformity analysis. Then I'll move on to our next steps and recommended action for today. Next slide. You're familiar with this schedule, and we are here in December delivering for you the draft plan and its companion document, the tip for your action today. I'll talk a little bit about the 6-month process through air quality conformity, as well as our public involvement process as well. Next slide. So to step back, while the focus of the last 2 years worth of work has really been focused on projects and programs to be funded with an extension of the dedicated half-cent sales tax to begin in the year 2026, we now need to step back and develop 2 federally required documents as a metropolitan planning organization. That's the Regional Transportation Plan and the Transportation Improvement Program. The RTP is a long-range vision to outline the investments needed to ensure the efficient movement of people and goods throughout the region for a horizon of at least 20 years. It focuses on those regionally significant projects and programs funded through available revenues to the region, and notably the federal funding that comes by way of formula. The Transportation Improvement Program is a companion plan required by our federal statute that is a short-range list of projects. The TIP must have a horizon of at least 4 years, include all regionally significant projects regardless of funding source, and by definition serves as the first 4 years of the regional transportation plan. These federal documents must be performance-based, be fiscally constrained. In other words, we must be able to prove available revenue to develop and deliver the projects contained herein, be updated at least every 4 years, and as noted, reflect all funding sources. For purposes of these documents, that includes the remaining years of Proposition 400, the proposed Proposition 400 extension projects and programs, projects in Pinel's RTA within our planning area, and any wholly locally funded projects. And both of these documents must be air quality conformant. Next slide. The air quality conformity process includes transportation and air quality modeling. And when we conclude with that, we go out for a final 30-day public comment period on the air quality conformity analysis, as well as the 2 plan documents. We're now bringing these through for your adoption today. And I'd like to note, with your previous action to the consent agenda, it included approval of the air quality conformity analysis, which MAG's work identifies that both the regional transportation plan and the transportation improvement program are air quality conformant. And with your subsequent action today, we'll be sending these documents for federal concurrence for air quality conformity by the Federal Highway Administration and Federal Transit Administration, likely in January. Next slide. The public comment period is consistent with MAG's federally required public participation plan. It was a 30-day window for final public comment. We posted an advertisement in the Arizona Republic on the day it started of September 13th. We sent over 15,000 emails to stakeholders and constituents, and certainly used and leveraged MAG's websites and project websites, as well as our social media feeds, to invite review and comment. Next slide. The public input summary is included in your agenda packet today. We did receive a few dozen comments, and I wanted to provide just a high-level summary of what we heard. Certainly, there's recognition for the fast pace of growth in this region and the need for continued transportation investments. There's notable support for the I-10 Jackrabbit Trail traffic interchange that is included in our proposed extension of Proposition 400 funding. Wanted to call that out specifically. There's continued support for expanded investments in alternative modes. This is a theme we've heard over the course of the last 2 years, specifically in transit and active transportation, those bicycle and pedestrian improvements, with emphasis that these sorts of investments don't just address mobility, but also provide and contribute to positive safety and public health outcomes. And finally, we heard an increased interest in environmental sustainability, recognizing that our transportation and local land use planning decisions certainly impact the environment. Next slide. We'll move on to next steps. Next slide. We've concluded now the plan development stage. We now move on to enabling legislation to allow Maricopa County, unique to all other counties in the state of Arizona, to go to our voters and ask for a continuation of the dedicated sales tax to support transportation in this region, first established by voters back in 1985. While our plan development work now is complete, we do and have been moving into enabling legislation. I'll defer more of this conversation to the subsequent agenda item by Nathan Pryor, who will present the latest details associated with enabling legislation in his legislative update. Next slide. As we move to plan education from plan development stage, we will continue to use our momentumplan.com, our online resource, as a repository of more information. I encourage you, your staff, your constituents to continue to use this website for the latest information associated with the plan and our work towards a campaign next year. Next slide. So with that, before I move to this motion, I want to take this opportunity that on behalf of Eric Anderson as Executive Director of the Maricopa Association of Governments, the entirety of MAG staff, want to express our gratitude and appreciation to the Regional Council for your leadership through this multi-year effort to develop a new regional transportation plan for our region. We do not take lightly the support that we've received from you, the time that we have received from you and your staff in partnership over the course of the last 2 years, and are thrilled that we were able to navigate some very difficult decisions, ones that we don't take lightly, difficult trade-off decisions associated with planned investments for our future, and are thrilled to develop these consensus plans for you today and for your final consideration. So with that, wanted to express our deep gratitude and partnership over the course of the last several years. With that, Mayor Giles, I'd like to present the following recommended action for you and your consideration today. That's the approval of the draft Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan and errata sheet changes, and the draft fiscal year 2022 through 2025 MAG Transportation Improvement Program and errata sheet changes, contingent on a finding of air quality conformity and acceptance of the public input report. I stand ready to answer any questions.
Thank you, Audra. Are there any questions from the membership on Audra's presentation and the action that we need to take? All right, hearing none, again, this item is on our agenda for approval of the draft Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan and errata sheet changes and the draft fiscal year 2022 through 2025 MAG Transportation Improvement Program and errata sheet changes, contingent, as Audra mentioned, on a finding of air conformity and acceptance of the public input report. Could I please have a motion to that effect?
Mayor Giles, this is Mayor Carlett. I make a motion.
Thank you, Mayor Carlett.
Mayor Hartke, I'd second that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Hartke, for the second. Ben, will you please take the vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Regional Council. I will go down the list of members by member agency. Please unmute and indicate how you vote. Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Orsborn.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Mayor Les Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Hartke.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Hermosillo.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Dickey.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Bridget Peterson.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Wires.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Hampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Schoaf.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor BN Wilner.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Carlat.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Barney.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Hall.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Woods.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Rodriguez.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor Pereira.
Aye.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Is there anyone that I missed? Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you, Ben. Item 7 on our agenda is the legislative update. MAG Policy and Government Relations Director Nathan Pryor will give this report. Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Regional Council. As Ms. Kester Thomas pointed out, be providing some details and an update on the enabling legislation of the continuance of Proposition 400, the regional half-cent sales tax or transportation. But before I do that, I would like to first give an update on the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So clearly, as we've been all watching in media and through other outlets, historic investment in the recently passed Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, $1.2 trillion, about $550 billion in new spending, half of that going to the U.S. Department of Transportation. This also includes a 5-year surface transportation reauthorization. Of note on these numbers I'm going to run through, I just want to give a thank you to the offices of Senator Kelly and Representative Stanton for sharing some of these preliminary details and estimates coming out of Federal Highway Administration, Federal Transit Administration. Thank you for their constant communication to us. In this first slide here, you can see the Arizona apportionments estimated through fiscal years 22 through 26. The federal aid highway apportioned programs are going to really highlight, you see it circled in red there, about $5 billion, but also of note some of the bridge replacement funding that's coming through, and also a National Vehicle Electric Formula program, about $76 million going to that program for Arizona estimated. Next slide, please. So continuing on to that $5 billion, just giving you an idea and sense of the breakout of that. This is going to a number of programs through formula funding, including CMAQ funding, surface transportation block programs. I think a key takeaway in this presentation about the Infrastructure Act is we're awaiting more details from U.S. Department of Transportation. Next slide, please. Continuing on with that $5 billion, you can see the breakout of the upcoming fiscal years, noting from fiscal year 21 to 22, that jump, the significant investment going to Arizona and the estimates so far, running out to fiscal year 2026. Next slide, please. Not to overlook transit, of course, in the Phoenix Mesa urbanized area, seeing significant investment, again, looking at the fiscal year 21 versus fiscal year 22, going from $74 to $95 million, again, significant investment in transit going forward. Next slide, please. Here's additional items that we are tracking. Of course, there is significant investment in rail, passenger and freight rail, $66 billion nationally, more money going towards safety programs, an electric vehicle charging program, $7.5 billion there, a number of discretionary grant programs that have been ongoing, some of them new. In all of this, we're waiting again for details, guidance, rulemaking from U.S. Department of Transportation in implementing all this. Obviously, with historic amounts of funding and investment, there's going to be a lot of details forthcoming. So we'll continue working with our federal agency partners for those details. Next slide, please. Next, I'm going to turn to the enabling legislation of which we just heard in the previous agenda item. Next slide, please. So I want to talk about what the enabling legislation does. Currently, we are drafting that legislation. We're having conversations with legislative council and their review, working out some of the finer point details. We're also having meetings with legislators and legislative leadership, which have been going well. I'd like to thank Policy AZ, our consultant, and working with not just the legislature, but you all in the business community in helping us with our efforts. Obviously, discussions with the business community, they're ongoing and critically important to the enabling legislation conversation. High-level summary of what enabling legislation will do: authorize a countywide ballot. Second, guide the allocation of funding, allocate 100% of the sales tax revenue, prescribe the process for major changes, and make administrative changes. So it's a high-level overview, a summary of what's in the bill, the draft bill to date. Obviously, we continue to work out details. Once we get a finalized draft from legislative council, we look forward to sharing that with you. But wanted to start off with these talking points so that you have this in hand. Why is that important? Next slide, please. Because of what's next. Please start meeting with your legislators. Let them know that enabling legislation and voter approval will continue investment in transportation regionally, supports our regional economic development. Just by way of reminder, of course, and some of what Ms. Kester-Thomas touched on, the plan was developed the regional consensus. Of course, your leadership as regional council, also the guidance and conversation with the Transportation Policy Committee, including appointed business representatives on the TPC, as well as the MAG Management Committee, your managers, including the managers working group, really work to build consensus on this plan. And again, thank you for your support and leadership in all of this. Just a note as well, we ask you that you please consider adding support for enabling legislation in your respective city, town, county, native, nation, state legislative agenda. That's really important going forward and as you meet with state legislators. And let's make sure our hard work is realized through successful passage of enabling legislation. As I pointed out at the beginning of my presentation, the infrastructure bill represents a historic investment in transportation. Passing the enabling legislation and subsequent approval by the voters helps just to program those dollars and make sure that those infrastructures are spent appropriately and wisely. So there is a relationship between what we do regionally and how we program the federal funding that's coming to us. So more to come on all this. We'll be working with member agencies to coordinate legislative activities and provide updates as appropriate. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Nathan. Again, this item's on the agenda for information and discussion only. Are there questions regarding the topics that Nathan updated us on? I'll just underscore Nathan's request that we all start working with our legislators on this. This is obviously this group worked really hard to come up with a transportation plan, and we did what the legislature asked. We gave them a plan, and we did not ask for a sales tax increase. So the emphasis now shifts to the legislature for them to give us the permission to go to the voters. So everybody on this call needs to be working with your legislators, making sure they understand the importance of this plan going forward, and reminding them how important Prop 400 has been to the development of our valley. And so anyway, you don't need, I know I'm preaching to the choirs, but it just probably a good reminder that we need to start working our legislators. Thank you very much, Nathan. Next item on our agenda is, are there any requests by a regional council member for an item on a future agenda? Okay, thank you. Hearing none. Are there any comments or announcements from the membership? Hearing none, that concludes our business for this meeting, and the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.